Did you know that we didn't get paid this week? Oh, wait,
Nope.
talk loud.
Oh, don't believe you.
You know we did not get paid this pay.
That's a terrible acting job.
I don't know.
I don't believe you at all. Like, I don't believe you at all. Come on, make it believe like it just happened. Like that, like yesterday or Friday when you looked.
Okay,
like,
yeah, because that was rough.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you know that we did not get paid this week?
What you mean we ain't get paid this week?
Stay tuned.
Welcome back to another Sunday night sit down with his and her money. I'm Talent.
And I'm Ty, and we're managing money, marriage, and everything in between.
Man, it's a true story. It's a true story.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe I should start out.
Yeah.
2 days ago, I get up in the morning and it's payday. So you know what happens on payday, y'all. Okay? We're divvying up our money, putting it into 13 of our bank accounts and creating the budget because the next month was due to begin. And guess what? I log in and looked in our bank account and I didn't see a paycheck. First, I picked up my phone immediately and I called you. There was no answer. Okay? I'm like, what? He's not answering. I'm like, I can't text him this to tell him that we didn't get paid. I have to call. I got to see what's going on. Then I start to get worried.
Yeah.
An hour goes by. No response from him yet. You know what I thought?
What you thought?
You got fired.
What?
I did. I thought you got fired. I was thinking in my head, what did he do to get fired?
I was somewhere plotting my
I
excuse.
didn't know. Yeah, that's what I thought. I said he probably up there trying to like defend us. I'm like, well, what would you have done to get fired? I don't know. Like crazy thoughts like that was coming to my head. And then I started thinking, okay, so if he did get fired, okay, you know, I got to console you to tell you, we gonna make it. It's gonna be okay. You know, and I'm like, I wasn't worried about the money side of it because I knew that, you know, we had an emergency fund, but I was more concerned about you because I didn't know what happened. Like, I started freaking out like, oh my gosh. Then I'm like, wait a minute. What is really going on? So I picked up the phone, I called you back again, no answer. So you know what I did? I sent him an email, guys. I'm like, shh, call me. Nothing's wrong, but call me, okay?
So simultaneously, while Ty was online freaking out because I didn't have a paycheck, I was at work in a meeting. I had a meeting as soon as I got to work. So my phone was actually in my office and I was in a conference room in this meeting. And of course, that was the topic of discussion when we first opened up the meeting. Like nobody had a paycheck. We all got the same email first thing in the morning saying there was an error and none of the checks were deposited. So everybody's looking at each other like, man, what does that mean? How, what? So what's the fix? And so, but we had to keep on, you know, going on as if, you know, nothing had happened. And so that's why I didn't get her phone calls, but I got her email because of course we're all sitting there on our laptops and our emails were up and then boop, you know, I got that email. And so it was crazy. Like, imagine that. You wake up fully employed, putting in work, and there's no paycheck there. Man, people were freaking out. Mm-hmm. I wasn't.
Right.
I
was because I didn't know what was going on until you called me.
But the reason that I wasn't freaking out was because we have made provisions for a situation just like this.
Yep.
It is called an emergency fund, and it is absolutely necessary because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Life happens, and you have to be prepared for when life happens and unexpected events occur. Is that going to be the end of you guys financially if emergency situations arise? Right.
And that's why we wanted to sit down and bring this video to you guys because this situation is all too real. You know, we are dependent upon our companies, our jobs, putting money in our bank account on payday, you know, and it made me start thinking even the more, okay, that's why the side hustles and things like that, you know, extra cash or starting your own business or whatever the case may be, anything can happen to whereas one day you can wake up and there's no money there. You didn't get a paycheck. Then what? Some people, because they didn't get a paycheck, their rent was due on the first, mortgage was due on the first, and they didn't have the money. Account was going in the negative. They're like, oh my gosh. And the bank doesn't care that your job didn't put the money in the
bank don't
account.
Even care.
No, it's not even their responsibility. And so you're going to get hit with all kind of late fees and things like that. And you see how it can have a ripple effect or a domino effect just by you not getting your paycheck. And that's why we come to you guys. We want you all to be prepared because guess what? It's going to happen. Situations are going to arise. And are you ready when they do? When I finally talked to my husband, I was able to calm down a little bit. I was like, okay, you still had your job. Okay. And I don't even know why I was thinking that, but I'm like, what? What would happen?
Worrier.
Yeah, I just didn't know. You know, I'm hearing about budget cuts and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, did they lay them off or what? Just didn't know. You know, and so when you finally told me nobody got paid, I was able to kind of exhale a little bit because I knew the worst situation for me would have been to hearing some bad news that maybe they laid you off or something like that. But even in that case, we were prepared. So I said, okay, no big deal. We'll get paid next week. By the time the bank finally sets it in the account, it'll be maybe Tuesday. And you know what, guys? We're going to be okay. We're not dependent upon your job or our job putting money into our bank account. Can you say the same? And if you can't, this is why we encourage you all, get out of debt as soon as you can. Keep attacking that debt day in, day out. We are hearing you guys' stories. You all are hustling all day long, picking up those extra shifts at work, picking up those side gigs, side income, and things like that, and pay off this debt. And let's start building our emergency fund. If you are in the middle of paying off your debt, just like Dave Ramsey, he recommends a $1,000 emergency fund. We even like to say, even if you have $500, put some money aside because emergencies are going to happen.
Yep. So if you're in the midst of your debt-free journey, just get a little starter emergency fund is what we call it. $500 to $1,000. Put it in a bank that's separate from your bank where you don't necessarily have easy access to it because we don't want you to be tempted to pull it out for something that's a non-emergency situation. Remember, this account is dedicated strictly and entirely for emergency situations, just like the one that Ty and I just experienced. If you're already out of debt, then we recommend that you have 6 months of emergency funds, again,
at least,
in a separate account. Put it in a bank either online that you have a 2 or 3 day window before you can access it, or a bank across town where it takes you a little while to get to it. The point is, you need an emergency fund. Everybody needs an emergency fund. The surveys have shown that over 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. So that means if you get hit with a situation like I just got hit with, where a paycheck doesn't deposit into your account, that means your household will be in trouble. It doesn't have to be that way. You can set yourself up for success right now by putting the proper things in place, such as an emergency fund. If you don't have $500 just laying around or $1,000 laying around, guess what? It's time to start selling stuff in your house that you're not using. Stop acting like you need that stuff. Put it on eBay, put it on Craigslist, get yourself a garage sale, get yourself an emergency fund because life is going to happen and emergency situations do arise. It's not a matter of will it happen, it's a matter of when it happens. So we want you guys to be prepared because let me tell you something. People were at my job freaking out because they didn't know how they were gonna make it.
And guess what, guys? As we're shooting this video, we still have not gotten paid. Do you see any sweat beads falling down our face? No. Matter of fact, we're smiling. You know, we are okay by the grace of God. Thank you, Lord, that we are okay. But we don't want you guys to be faced with situations like that. We want you to be prepared as much as possible.
Yeah, so listen, do it. Don't talk about it. Don't think it's a good idea. Just execute. You need an emergency fund, whether it's $500 or whether it's 6 months worth of expenses. You and your spouse or you and your accountability partner talk to each other, figure out a comfortable number, look at your budget, look at how much a month's worth of expenses cost you, and start planning accordingly. Be prepared. Be proactive. We keep stressing that.
Yeah.
The 7 habits of highly effective people. Habit number 1, be proactive. Don't wait till the emergency situation comes and then you're like, oh, Lord, what am I going to do? And then you end up making worse decisions like financing a loan to float you or whatever. Listen, be proactive. Get yourself an emergency fund. Put it away and be ready. So when times like this arise, you'll be straight. That's the point. That's what drives Ty and I, so that you all can be free financially and you don't have these stresses all around you when it comes to your finance.
Yep. And you know what? I think we should mention a lot of people rely on their credit cards and they think, oh, if a case of emergency happens, I have my credit card. Your credit card is not in an emergency fund.
No.
Okay? We have to stress that. Your credit card is not an emergency fund whatsoever. That should be out of the picture totally, especially if you are in debt. you need to set aside physical cash in a separate account in case of emergency. Because if an emergency arises, not just if, but when it does, you don't want to use your credit card and then continue to go into debt and to build a balance that you can't even cover or you can't even pay off. So our emergency fund is cash, not our credit cards.
You don't want to turn your emergency into a disaster by
Right,
financing it.
right.
Okay, you want your emergency to turn into just an inconvenience.
That's right.
And it can be an inconvenience by just having cash, like Ty said, and having it in an account. Do not use debt to cover an emergency because it goes from an emergency to a disaster.
Right.
So guys, remember, we're a community. We're a family here at His and Her Money. So we need to hear from you guys down in the comments section. Are you able to handle an emergency situation if it arises? Do you have an emergency fund? And if not, what do you plan to do about it? Put your comments down there because we all learn from each other. So we need to hear tips and advice from all you guys as well.
Well, guys, that does it for this episode of Sunday Night Sit Down. We hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget, visit us over at our website at hisandhermoney.com and meet us back here Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, where you will see the both of us sharing with you.
And head over to iTunes or Stitcher Radio and subscribe to the His and Her Money Show. We have an awesome podcast where we share debt-free stories, personal finance advice, and even marriage tips to get you through your week. And don't forget, in the middle of the week, every Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are live and direct on Periscope. So download the Periscope app, follow His and Her Money, and have your questions ready. You all can shoot questions to us in real time, and we can give you answers in real time.
That's right, guys. Well,
until next time, guys.
Until next time. Bye.
Peace.